first thing that I ever did as an actor, so it's kind of, to me, this is the way that it's always supposed to be. And apparently, talking she's my other.
You should do the cup song that I have.
For me, I don't have anything to compare and contrast with, juxtaposing, of course, parenthetically speaking. So I've always been around you wonderful people, and the great thing about it is that as the years go on, it seems to grow, which is pretty awesome too. Now, how many people here have been fans since day one?
Yeah!
Since that Tuesday at 8 o'clock, before we let in for that what was that show?
Dawson's Creek.
No. No, it was Heaven.
Seventh Heaven.
You guys were the lead-in for 7 Heaven.
Yeah. And Joss had this whole thing where like it was the poster of Buffy, and then it was the Seventh Heaven, and then it was
Jesus.
But Joss's thing, his tag wanted it to be Heaven and Hell, you decide which. And so how many people became fans after the show aired in 1990? Don't be shy. So.
I was watching Xena, sorry.
Hey, it's fine. Nothing wrong with Xena. So I think it's so wonderful to have these fans, but it's pretty much all I've done. And so I've always expected every show that I have done after Buffy to have that fan base, so it's not particularly that way at all. But I think it's really confidential. Right, thank you. Criminal Minds, yeah.
No, it was really it wasn't my first show, and I was older, so for me it was just delicious.
Really? It wasn't your first
heaven. No. For me it was delicious heaven, because at that time, TV writing was pretty bad. Pretty bad. I mean, you'd get a script and you'd go, oh my God, if I paraphrase half of this, I can maybe twist it into something that might come out of a human being's mouth. It was awful. And then to get on this show that was so fabulously written was just such a treat. And nowadays, all the best writers followed Joss into television. And there's fantastic stuff, and some of the best writing is on television. Because film is really no longer sort of a writer's medium. But it was heaven to be on a show so well written and so well done, especially at a time when nothing else was.
I thought you guys were great. Karen? Huh?
Okay, hello. Okay, first off, Miracle, you're so pretty, it's not actually okay. Just so you know.
Thank you.
What are you going to do about it?
Want to fight?
Compliment
I
you
know
as
fake
the
TV karate, so I could
It is really okay. Okay, generic question of, do you have any really funny, endearing moments from on set that you enjoyed and
Oh my God. So I'm going to apologize ahead of time. I don't do well with that question because I'm not a good storyteller that way. There were lots of funny, I don't know. Do you guys have good anecdotes?
Anecdotes,
I'm sure.
That's a great word.
No, it was, it was kind of because it was kind of dark, obviously, in moments, the show itself, and there was a lot going on, and no, I just had the best time, every second that I was there, because, like him, it was my first show, and my third day on the set, I had, a scene eating Chinese food. Oh, this is a good one. Here we go, you ready? You just have to start yabbering, and then jabbering, and yammering. It's like a mockingjay. So it was my third day on the set, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I was with the wonderful Tomo Pennicott, who will be with us tomorrow. But I didn't know what I was doing at all, and I was nervous and excited, and I was a huge fan of Joss and Buffy and obviously the whole world, and was just so elated to be there as an actor and also a fan. So my third day, I had to do the Chinese food scene, which I will tell you a story about, and then then the sex scene, which is awkward, and then the 3 flowers in a vase scene. So that was all like my third day. So it was my first time at the rodeo, and I was terrified, but I had the best time. So the story is, we have to eat Chinese food. I'm vegetarian, so I don't do a lot of like, Asian fusion, Chinese, any of that type of thing. So I cannot use chopsticks. That's the truth. So the prop guy, Chris, comes up to me and goes, here you go, here's your Chinese food and your chopsticks. And I looked at him and I was like, can I have a fork? And he goes, are you kidding? Like, who doesn't know how to use chopsticks? And I said, this guy. So he gave me the fork, and so Melly ate her Chinese food with a fork, and I was at a convention, and a fan came up to me and said, I just thought it was the best character choice, because Melly is so charming, to like, have her use a fork to eat her Chinese food? And I was like, thank you. It was me, because I can use chopsticks. That's my story. That's it. That's as good as it gets.
Okay. Actually, on that first Tuesday, was it a Tuesday?
When we aired?
Oh no.
Oh, when we shot?
Whatever day it was that we shot. It was the first day of shooting.
Monday.
And it was in front of the school, and I was supposed to drop Buffy off at school. And so I was in the green Jeep, and I was very nervous. And Sarah must have had about 10 cups of coffee, and she was just chatting, and she had the radio on, and I'm just like, oh my God, I just like have to keep it together and remember my lines and what I'm supposed to do. And so they called action, and I was supposed to take the car and pull up in front of the school and drop her off. And I put the car in reverse and took off in the wrong direction. And fortunately, I didn't kill anybody. Or destroy any property.
I think there's like a progressive car insurance commercial that's based on that premise, with the Human League singing to it. Trying to go back. There's so many of them. I mean, all I remember was that you learn to, especially I guess when you go to eating. By the way, eating Chinese food with chopsticks, I swear to God, is on a TV show or a movie is one of my biggest pet peeves. It's used all the time.
Yeah.
Well, we're just kicking back, got our thing, let's talk about the case or whatever, like police station. So a fork is the way to go, and I'm proud of you. I would have used a spoon, but it's right. First fork. 2 spoons, they look great.
Next time.
But the one thing that I learned was that whenever there were eating scenes, because I forgot, I think it's in the high school years, but I had to do this scene where I was eating Twinkies to impress a girl. And I had known, I did a couple commercials where...
Always works for me.
Yeah, right? And thank God they're back.
Thank God they're here.
Who didn't see that coming, by the way? You know what I mean? It was like, hey, by the way, Coke's gonna change the formula. It's like, yeah, right. A month later, it was a classic. For those of you who remember the 80s. So anyway, so I just learned that in the master shot, which is the first shot, don't eat anything. It doesn't matter if you're at dinner, and you're starving, just don't eat anything because you have to match it and you have to actually swallow. But in that Twinkie scene, since I had to swallow, and that was my way of, I had lines after I ate these 7 Twinkies in a row, I had to eat those Twinkies, and it was just horrible. The shit that they put you through, nobody thinks about us, you know what I mean? It's almost like, yeah, I mean, sure, hunger's a problem in this world, but how's about overeating on camera, you know what I mean? There should be some sort of there should be some sort of outreach program for actors to be too much on camera. Anyway.
Thank you.
Hey there.
Hey.
Oh, we're going to the other side.
My question is for Nicholas, but first off, before I get into it, I just want to say I've been a fan of you guys for a long time. The Buffy show was fabulous. Actually, Nicholas, you did a great job also on Criminal Minds.
Yeah.
Very good character. I just recently getting into acting. I've been an entertainer in the city for over 30 years doing singing telegrams. And
give us something right now.
Please, please.
Give us something. Come on, you can't.
Do a singing telegram for Amy to get well.
Yes!
Yeah.
Okay.
No pressure.
No pressure. And then we'll see.
Thanks a lot. Put me on the spot. Thanks a lot. Okay, get well. Okay, let's see.
The old bag of tricks.
And the get well song goes.
There's got to be one.
Yeah, I've got one. I'm just trying to remember it on the spot.
Yeah, no, it's.
You don't really have to. Sorry.
You know what we'll do?
We can
Ask the
talk
question. And
I tell you what. I'll do my Elvis one,
Okay.
Yeah.
and I can change it to get well for whatever.
You're all sick of.
Oh well, bless my soul, what's this I see? You feel an evil, golly gee. And I didn't bring a gift at all. I hope this little dish is good enough for you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Actually, like I said, I just recently got into acting after doing a lot of entertaining through the city. And I know some people, some actors, fellow actors who've been acting with you on Morningside Monster. And I actually know the writer as well, because I write as well too. And just wanted to know what your experience was on that.
It was a lovely. It was. I shot it like last November here in by Athens. Right. Okay. Thank you. And I had a really lovely experience with that. So and I love the kind of Do you know anything about the script? Do you know how it like what?
I do know a little bit about the script.
What the red herring is? Yeah. So I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. And the little town I was staying in, they had like a little like a courthouse and they had a huge Christmas tree. So I'm like, oh, it's Christmas time. It was really pretty. I just remember that. Very pretty. Had a good time.
Great. I didn't want to give anything away in case somebody was going to actually watch it because there are red herrings in there. So.
God forbid. Thank you, Elvis.
I had a question about Criminal Minds.
Yes.
I'm a total queer girl, so I just wanted to know how kissing Kristine was.
Did you say that you're a troubled queer girl?
No, I'm a total queer.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna say let's work on the troubled part. What's it like kissing Kirsten?
Yeah.
What do you think it's like?
Amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Like you get lost from the eyes to the lips to the cleavage, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
She's like, Nikki, my lips are up here, and I'm like, I'm looking at your lips. You know what I'm talking about?
She's blushing. I can see it.
You're welcome. I'm happy you're not troubled, by the way.
This question is directed at Nicholas and
Directed
Kristine.
at. In the general direction of Nikki and Nikki.
What was your favorite episode set to work on with Buffy?
I always kind of put the musical aside because I think everyone's favorite episode was that. So, musical aside, to set, I probably either Hush or for me, Buffy versus Dracula. I had a really fantastic time. I really enjoyed the Zeppo, and also the Pack was a lot of fun for me because that was my first Xander episode, and also really teaching. What I'm saying is there was only one bad episode. It was called Beer Bad, which is also a Xander episode, But in season 1, to me, everything was just so. It was like I was living a dream. It was like I was so blessed. I couldn't believe I was getting paid to say words for a living. That was nuts. But it was funny. But Teacher's Pet is where I came up with. I guess in the Avengers 2, they have a whole like shawarma thing at the end of that movie. And Robert Downey was talking about in I think Entertainment Weekly that he and Joss were discussing that it needed a punch up at the end of the movie. And Robert's like, so Joss and I came up with it. And I'm like, you fucking liar. And Robert and I both live in Venice too, and I'm like, I know exactly where he lives, so I'm just kind of waiting outside his house. So then Joss finally said, like, you know, that I had come up with the idea, and essentially I kind of walked into his office. I had got a falafel, and I'm like, what's a shawarma anyway? It's like it's a big meat stick, you know. So he then put it into Teacher's Pet when I get drugged, and then he put it into the Avengers. So that was very, very sweet of him for saying no. That was Mickey's idea. Every episode I loved except for Beer Bad, but the musical number one. Oh, the set. No. I wasn't aware of that. The set. Well, let me think about this.
Shall I answer what you think?
Yeah.
Go.
Okay. For me, it would be band candy on top of the police hood. Least favorite was laying on the morgue table in the body.
Which
Painted blue. 3 hours.
inverse those for me. Most favorite, her on the slab. Or least favorite, Lisa's car. Remember, what was your favorite?
How about yours?
set?
To work on Buffy?
Yes. That you saw.
The magic shop, because my husband Chris was in the Life Cereal episode. Isn't that a fun fact? Trivia. He was the guy buying the slug candle. The slug
Come on up here.
All right, that was my favorite. Yeah.
As someone who's stuck in Atlanta, I was wondering, what is the international reception to Buffy like?
We were actually, Kristine and I were just in Paris last month, and it's really crazy. It's and then I was in Italy 2 weeks ago. The first time I was ever chased was in France, actually. I was in France. My character is called Alex, and I was in Nice with my with my ex-wife is now. And so we were on the beach at Nice on our way to Saint-Tropez. And all of a sudden I hear, like, these chicks are running and screaming, Alex, Alex! And I'm like, who's this Alex kid? And then they were chasing after me. So it's crazy. I really haven't expected it to be kind of like worldwide. And also in other planets too. I love this shit.
No, it is crazy. I mean, my daughter was too young to watch Buffy when we were making it, because she'd have been too afraid. But she loved the guy with the one eye. She still talks about him. Remember the Cyclops from the zombie issue?
Yeah.
She thought he was like the greatest guy ever.
As a human being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They would hung out on the curb while we weren't shooting.
That's not creepy. The one-eyed guy.
But it is crazy because she was too young to watch it when she was growing up. So the first time she saw it was in Italy with everything dubbed in German. And then the second time she watched it, everything was dubbed in Italian. And she just watched it last year for the first time in English.
And she likes it better in German.
Yeah. But I have to say that worldwide, at least in my experience, Buffy fans are just the best. They're totally cool. Totally cool. They sidle up to you on the subway and go, I don't want to disturb you, but I love your work.
But of course, the fans in America are the best.
Yeah!
I was expecting a bigger.
That was actually the New York subway. On my way to Queens. Yeah.
Still wait. A little.
Yeah, but Bubba, thank you for coming. I was expecting maybe 6 people. No, I mean, not for lack of wanting to get up. I mean, you know what I mean? Thank you for...
He was up at 5.
I was up at 5 taking a run, but outside of that.
I've got a question for Miracle.
Whoa.
Sorry.
Hey.
I'm sure you've gotten this question a lot, but what was your favorite of the characters to play on Dollhouse? Because they're quite different, the characters.
Yeah. I loved Melly just because it was such an easy fit for me, and I love the way that Joss wrote her and everybody else wrote her, and I think, you know, a lot of the writers said over the 2 seasons that they loved writing for Paul and Melly, that it was just really fun. It was kind of like a break because there was so much other, way more complicated stuff, you know, things going on, and plot points and characters and just crazy episodes, and this was kind of like the one constant little, you know, relationship throughout the show. And Totmo, you know, and I'll talk about this more when he's here, but, you know, he was a total dream to work with. He was a very good friend on set and a good partner to have, and she was fun, and I loved, you know, obviously getting to flip the switch and be the sleeper doll. That was kind of amazing for me. No, I love Melly a lot. It was really comfortable, and she was great, I thought. Yeah. I loved every second of being on set. Thank you.
In Buffy, Joyce goes from being kind of a distant and estranged parent in season 1 and the first half of season 2, but once she's clued in, Joyce becomes very, very involved in Buffy's life. I was wondering your thoughts on Joyce's evolution as a character before she was so tragically taken from us in season 5.
I decided early on that, because sometimes there were things that were hard to reconcile as an actress, because Joyce could be, there were so many different sides of her. I decided early on that what you were really seeing was Joyce through the eyes of Buffy, from her point of view. And so the distance that you saw until she was clued in, to me, was a daughter, that estrangement that happens in those years where you need to separate from your mom and you need to keep her at arm's distance, and then you come around as you get older and sort of begin to realize that yes, it's your mother, but you can see her more as a human being. So because I'm not a distant mother, so you know, you always have to sort of find your way into those things. So that's how I saw it, that you were seeing Joyce through Buffy's eyes. So thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you very much for being the fantasy that defined a nation for all of my childhood and my high school career. I wanted to ask how much, because in your Whedon shows there's a lot of campiness that goes along with the humor. How much of that is written and how much of that is the interaction between you guys on stage or while you're looking through your script?
If you're shooting anything for Joss Whedon, it's all written. Yeah. There's no... maybe 2 things that I came up with. I mean, outside, but even the shawarma thing was set as a side at Joss's office at one point that he then put into his script. But he would say, you know, he, like any predicate, anything, you would have the emotion down. He's like, you know, I put that "the" there for a reason. Which actually, as an actor, I mean, it's the way that I love to work, because it means you have to do your homework, and there's no, you know, you can't just say, oh, this is about what he's saying. So, which screws me up on auditions now, because I was trained that you have to say every single word perfect. And if you fuck it up, you got to start over again. And when you're auditioning, you can't do that. You have to kind of go, you have to see it through. But my brain is like, can we start over? It's like, no, actually we can't. Well, okay,
and thank you for coming.
Yeah. You shouldn't wear that blouse. It makes you look fat, is what I say to the casting director. And then, so, I think there was one time where there was a doll episode where I'm like, rad rob, rad rob. That was the only thing that was ever in, but Joss did not want any, there was no ad-libbing, there was nothing like that at all.
And it was really weird because, like I said earlier, anything else you auditioned for, you had to rewrite it because it was so bad, and like words that would never come out of a human being's mouth. So it was this strange was really strange to have
Because
to
you didn't even
memorize it.
feel the need to change. You know, it all felt natural once you got to that.
And one of the things too that's great, it's when you have somebody who's that passionate, who's like, I put that A there, I put that there, I put that did there for a reason. You're like, holy shit, this guy knows what he's doing. You know, on Criminal Minds, if we get around what we're trying to say, we're moving on. You know what I mean? And nothing, I mean, I love Criminal Minds, but yeah, obviously Buffy, I mean, the way that Joss Whedon works, it's like, he does become your god. You know, it's like, especially when you're doing that particular thing, it's like, you know that he's thought this through far more than you have. So shut the fuck up, hit your lines, hit your mark and say your line, and maybe get a small little welling of tears. But never let it drop. That was the thing with Joss. He would watch Allison and Sarah, and you know, and we would have a crying scene, and he's like, yes, and because he would see it building up, and then Sarah especially, it would drop. He's like, his tears would start to drop. He's like, fuck. He never wanted to see it drop. He never wanted the climax to happen. He always wanted it to end before a climax. Just crazy. So he really thinks about it. Because I love climaxing all the time.
I made the mistake once of thinking, wow, like it's really cool. People can really cry around here. I'm going to try that. And we reshot the scene.
And you thought you probably did a great job.
Oh, I thought it was awesome.
Melly got to cry a lot.
Oh.
With tears.
He let it go, with real tears. Yeah, with tears. Yeah.
Hi, my question is for Nicholas and Kristine. I was hoping you could talk to us a little bit about your experience of shooting The Body, which is one of the most powerful hours of television I've ever seen. And
what it's like to lose somebody when you're really young is, it doesn't happen to that many people, but so you feel so alone when it happens. And I thought he captured that so brilliantly in that episode, and I'm thrilled to have been The Body.
You're still The Body, baby. Dumb as a bag of rocks, but fuck that body. That body. Is that a question too? Yeah. What was it like on that? Yeah. I had never, to this day, and I think it's going to end up being very tragic. I have not experienced the death of a loved one in my life. So I've got some fun years ahead of me. Yeah, I'm not going to be good with that at all. So I'd never experienced before, but I remember it being palpable. Joss had, being on Buffy was amazing because when you do a show for years and years and years, typically the crew who gets the scripts first don't really care to read the scripts. But on Buffy, every time the script came out, they knew that they were part of something special, so they would just sit there and you couldn't find a touch-up for makeup because they were reading the script and enjoying it. So I remember it brought up a lot of emotions for people who had lost loved ones before. And my character, and also I am fairly jovial, and I don't take things too seriously. And on this particular episode, I knew just sit down and shut up. You know, there was something greater happening than just making a TV show. Like there was healing going on.
Yeah, we never talked about that, but it was palpable, wasn't it? I mean, everybody was so quiet and so subdued, and it wasn't kind of.
It was a funeral.
Yeah, but like every waking minute, it was really.
So it wasn't fun to shoot at all. It was probably my least favorite episode to shoot in terms of that. But yeah, it was crazy. And also too, it was just the way that he was able to. I equated it because I know that when I was a kid, I would get in trouble a lot, and I'd be sent to the principal's office or suspended. And I remember waiting for my parents to come pick me up. And you get that thing where it's like you can't hear anything, but your hearing is acute at the same time. Colors are dull, but also very vibrant. I don't know that because of death. I know because I just got in trouble a lot. And that was the way how he was able to actually convey that with taking the sound out, and ramping certain things up. It was very Hitchcockian because Hitchcock would have a microphone down at the feet. So he's just crazy. He's just goddamn, he's so blessed to work with him. Talking about him, he's dead. But yeah, it was nuts.
We only have
10
10 minutes. All
minutes.
right. Quick questions, quick answers.
If the microphone works. So, there's another Buffy question, I'm so sorry. This is my first time ever seeing you guys in person, and thank you for being here, and I was such a big fan of the show, but have you seen a response from people like myself who grew up either queer, gay, lesbian, transgender, and identified with the show, not only on the level of Willow coming out of the closet? What kind of emotional response, what kind of fan response do you see from the LGBTQXY? I said, oh my God, I kind of get what she and he and they are going through. And it really identified with that show. So, by the way, thank you again so much for Buffy, because it really was a part of my growing up in high school and everything. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And thank you for watching. I remember it was, I had a lot of gay friends, and so I would kind of say, this is really big in the gay community. And at one point, we have a huge, Santa Monica Boulevard has a huge Halloween party, like in West Hollywood. There, like 1 million people show up, and they wanted to cast the Buffy to be the grand marshal of that parade. And we still wanted to do it, but we were working. So I think at that point, I think that was season 2 or 3, even before Willow came out, I knew that it was definitely making its imprint on the GBYL Lifetime Network.
I just wonder, where are those normal people? Everybody I know was pretty shy and introverted and struggling and feeling different. So I don't know what happened to those people.
They're myths.
Yeah.
Absolute myths. Because it was our perspective.
Mindy Dunn, she was a cheerleader.
Yeah, probably suicide.
I saw her on Facebook, I think you're right.
Yeah. Thank you. Stay gay.
And congratulations, it's so exciting that the IRS is going to honor all gay marriages.
But no longer straight marriages.
Welcome to the marriage penalty.
Had to give somewhere.
I have a dollhouse question.
Yay!
Yeah.
I'm a fan too, so I'm enjoying everything. All right.
As an active, if you could have written your own assignment for an episode, what would you have written? And did you actually get to do one that you say is your favorite?
Oh my God. Oh no. I should have go-to answers for stuff like that. Darn it, huh? Learn them, yeah. I don't know. People have asked me, if you could be imprinted as anything, what would it be? And I'm actually a huge Yankee fan. And I feel like Derek Jeter might be the coolest human being in the entire world. He's goofy looking, but still sexy. He's crazy, out of this world talented. He seems like a good guy. He's got a great charity. He probably sleeps with the hottest chicks in the world, right? Because he can't, but he's respectful about it, And he's just totally charismatic, but goofy and nice and awesome. And he's on top of the world. He's one of the best baseball players in history, and baseball's awesome. So I would like to be imprinted as Derek Jeter, just to see what that feels like. That's as good as it gets for me. I'm sorry. I don't know. I just think that would be amazing. Okay, I hope that's an enjoyable answer for you. I'd love to just because he's so clutch too. It's not about home runs. It's when someone really needs you and you come through and you just kill it. I'm drooling. I'm so excited. I know.
Only Derek Jeter, right?
Only Derek Jeter.
It's so sad that you have no feelings about this. She keeps it so close to the chest.
Are you doing baseball?
I'm sorry? A uke player? But I actually play the uke. So I don't need the imprint. I mean, I could be a lot better though. Yeah, okay.
Hey, I have a question. Thank you guys for coming out. I know you guys have a lot of different obligations and events and everything, but I think everybody here really appreciates seeing you guys. My question pertains to Buffy. One of the episodes that I really enjoyed a lot was the Halloween episode where you put on a costume and you took up that persona. I really enjoyed Xander taking on a more sort of fighting aspect.
Macho guy?
Yeah. I think that it really, I thought it fit the character very well. Were you ever reluctant or disappointed that it didn't go in that direction? More so earlier on?
No, because I never wanted to have powers. And it would come up from time to time where we needed something and there would just kind of be that imprint, if you will, of when we needed some sort of battle thing. But I love the fact that Xander laughed in the face of danger and then he hid until it went away.
Yeah.
Though I wish they'd put me in Derek Jeter uniform. Talk about clutch, love being on top.
Thank you.
My family quotes Buffy lines all the time, and I'm curious, what is your favorite line that you got to say as a character in the Whedonverse?
God damn. It's so crazy because I'll get scripts to sign and then I'll just kind of leaf through them and I'm like, oh fuck, man, I just... Like, I want to forget Xander so much because I'm never going to play that character again, but I want to remember him at the same time. There's, in Buffy versus Dracula, when I was Renfield, and it's like, oh, this would not please the Master Vader. And then I say Master Vader again. Or no, I say something Vader. I forgot what it was. Well, what was it?
Dark Prince Vader.
Dark Prince Vader, yeah. And it's like I'm getting tired of being everybody's butt monkey, the guy that has the funny syphilis. But the first line that I do remember is I hide in the face of danger, and I laugh in the face of danger, then I hide until it goes away. And that was episode 1 or 2. So I did 143 of them. So there's a lot, so many. I can't, but I just did.
Okay, this is last question after Kristine.
Oh, I don't remember. What did I say?
Buffy, where were you? Buffy? Gone.
I don't remember saying anything.
Oh, child.
That was my favorite thing.
But I do remember loving sassing Buffy in band candy. That was really great.
Do you have any, how about Ted? Did you have any? I remember John's line, it's like I will not put up with this type of malarkey in my house. I remember the word malarkey making
No, I just remember going, hi, John Ritter, it's really nice to meet you. Okay, and then kissing him in the next 5 minutes.
I did that, the same thing happened to me too.
Yeah.
I miss that man.
Yeah, he was
okay.
My favorite line? The one that sticks out the most, just thinking about it, is probably, it was the last scene we shot of the last episode that I shot when my character had her tragic demise. She says, you made me feel like a real person. And I think that really encapsulated Melly and November Starry getting verklempt. It was very emotional because that was the last scene, the last day of my time on the show. And I said to Joss, I said, would you have killed me if we weren't getting canceled? Because sometimes he just kills people. That's what he does, obviously. And he said, of course not. You're one of my favorites. I would never do that. The audience loves you. I love you. Everyone loves Melly. No way. He goes, but we're canceled, so you're dying.
Everybody loved Wash, and he killed him.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you for being here. This is for Nicholas. You had a sidebar conversation with Don in one of the later episodes of the last season saying that you were the heart of the group and that was your superpower. Just a few episodes later, also, let me backtrack. In that conversation, you also said that you see a lot of things that other people in the group didn't see, and that was part of being the heart.
And half of that went away.
And half of that went away. So what was the emotional roller coaster or process like in losing your eye, which is part of what you said your superpower was?
So crazy. I mean, again, this is going to be, we don't have the time to answer this properly, so I'll try to do it really quick. At at this point, we were on countdown to 4 episodes left, and that was crazy. Again, the biggest death that I've had in my life was the last day of that show. So everything was, I was in kind of that like walking around haze of I can't believe this is ending. I found out about losing my eye by reading a script, which sucked. I had to read it twice. And then actually the process of Nathan doing that really hurt a lot too. But it's so hard to talk about those last, like, because I still haven't said bye to it. Like, I was shooting a pilot. The last day of my work on Buffy, I was shooting a pilot for Fox. And I had to, like, literally leave. And I couldn't, which is the only way I could have done it, because I couldn't say. Yeah, I had dreams about it still, that we're doing season 8, only Xander's not a part of it. You know what I mean? So it's kind of, and probably at least once a month, I have a dream of that we're going to come back.
Please.
So you never know. Coming this spring, Nicholas Brendon is Buffy. In the world. Are we done? That's it?
Yes, we are done. Thank you guys so much for
Thank you guys.